Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, can I run an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, I believe he's probably in his early to mid-20s at best. He's relatively young. And he shares his story about his train wreck of an ex-girlfriend and how, my God, from the get-go, it was not good. Got involved with the wrong girl, was totally taken advantage of, and only when he was pushed too far by the skin of his teeth did he finally redeem himself in the end and get rid of her. But you're going to see, guys, as I go through this, many will recognize the mistakes he makes from the get-go. And you're going to see just how easily women will, not all, but many will take advantage of naive, gullible, clueless guys. You must be aware of that. And how you can't turn an HOE into a housewife. And you're going to find this out again. It'll be emphasized here. How women will use guys and not care. And how you just can't let yourself be put in that position. Otherwise, you'll be fully taken advantage of. But like I said, guys, there's a lot to learn here in the story. I'm going to go through this, and this guy's going to get a whole lot of smacks. And in the end, I'll really go into detail where he went wrong and all that. So he never does this again. And any guy that may hear something similar won't do that as well. So we can learn something here. And be prepared, guys. Your arms will be sore with all the smacking this guy's going to get if you're going to smack along with me, because good Lord. But I appreciate he has the guts to write in and share this story. So it starts off, says here, hello SSM. I've been a long-time viewer of the channel for a while now. I was hoping you could give me some advice on this whole mess, even though I know I'll be getting lots of slaps. Only recently have I felt ready to share this experience that I had. I was seeing a girl, we can call her B for the story. Well, she's definitely a B, but I'm not going to call her B through the whole story, so we will call her Brandy. I had met her at a downtown Halloween festival. You might know the type: beer, college kids, local pride, that sort of thing. I was there with some buddies of mine, and both of our friend groups started to mingle. That is when I met Brandy. She was with her friends, laughing about something. From the very start, she seemed outgoing, kind, and grounded. Well, she was drinking, so people tend to become a little more jolly and friendly when they drink. As the beer and drinks at the festival flowed, she and I started talking a lot. So much so that we ended up hooking up after the festival. Well, you stud. Right place, right time. Or one could actually argue wrong place, wrong time, given how this goes. Well, I hope you wore protection. Okay, you got laid. Well, it should have ended there. This girl is in no way, shape, or form girlfriend material. A girl you meet at a party and hook up with after some drinks, You can't think that you were the first guy this happened to. Unfortunately, our guy, he said he was watching the channel for a while. Now, I don't know if this happened before he found the channel, but if he was watching the channel for a while, he would not be doing what he's about to do. Well, she made me feel heard and wanted. She was drunk. And over the course of a few months, we went on a few dates. I was more naive and gullible back then, and for the first few dates, I brought her gifts and would sit there listening to her for hours as she would talk on the phone. In my eyes, this seemed like a good relationship. Smack! You're just dating and you're bringing her gifts. You don't bring girls gifts unless they're actually your girlfriend. And she is reciprocating and goody and all that. And even then, the gifts are few and far between. She has to earn those things. When a guy just starts bombarding a girl with gifts, that says that he's not good enough being the guy he is. He's got to bribe her to pay attention to him. Instant sign of a low-value guy. Yeah, you should know that. But now you do. She would often, though, not respond for days to my messages when I would text her, and it would drive me crazy. Does that sound like a good relationship to you? Does that sound like a girl is into you? When they like you, they respond and want to talk to you. You're like a whatever to her. But you keep giving her gifts, so she's stringing you along. It felt as if I was chasing for scraps at a soup kitchen. She also seemed to like me, but not enough to respond and listen at times. Eventually, though, as time went on, even more cracks started to show through. You should have got involved with her, and the second she started showing this disrespect and giving you the scraps, you should have left. Why didn't you? Because you didn't know any better. Multiple times she told me that working on cars was a strange hobby. She even almost convinced me to sell one of my rusted cars that I was working on. Luckily, I shot that down. Good for you. She probably wanted you to sell it, get any money you can, and spend it on her. Never let a woman try to push you away from your hobbies. She would also often talk on the phone for a long time about her male friends. Ding, 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 and you freaking listened. That you were that guy that listens to her talk about other dudes. I'd like to know how often you were getting laid during all this. I would just sit there and listen about her going on and on about her saying all the good things she had about them. Smack! You think that she finds that attractive in you? Bro, what the hell? At that point, I was starting to get suspicious. I still thought I would keep cool and would bear through those awkward conversations. Smack! Look at all the time you wasted doing this. And where's it get you? Well, a year passed of this in between the state of the stupid games. A year of this? She was pressuring me to buy an apartment and move out of my brother's house. I eventually caved and we moved in together in a small apartment. Smack! Yeah, so she could get free place to live and you pay all her bills. What do you think was going on there? When we were living together, things were even worse. Shocker. She would often disappear at odd times in the night for work-related things. What, being a hooker? She worked at a barista at Starbucks, and I still don't know why she would need to do that. Her excuse was she was picking up supplies for the store, except that made no sense. I have a feeling that she was cheating, but I pushed those thoughts away as I was deep in love. Smack! You were deep and stupid. That's what you were, my man. I hope you know this. She has to leave in the middle of the night to get supplies for Starbucks. I think the Starbucks Corporation can have supplies sent to their stores, for goodness sake. Things were going down the drain fast. I was still in love with her, so I thought of a way to maybe fix things. Fix things? She ain't your car. There's no fixing this. Everything started getting out of hand, though, when I took her out to a basketball game. I paid for 2 tickets. The place was around 3 hours from where I live. I was hoping it would reignite the spark. Maybe it would show her how much she meant to me. I was also hoping we would be able to talk about marriage there and have another chance of settling down. Smack, smack, smack. Are you nuts? Marriage to her who treats you like scraps from the table? Are you kidding me, man? No other girl is out there that can give you attention? My God, but your pride just couldn't handle the fact that she wasn't into you and using you. You must see this is what was going on. And saying that you need to show her how much she meant to you. Bro, she knew full well how much she meant to you by you putting up with all her bullshit. Listening to her talk about guys who probably she was hooking up with and cheating on you with, using you, all these things. Come on, bro. Please tell me this shit happened before you found the channel. Because if you watch the channel for a while, watch videos, there's no way you'd be doing some of this stuff. But this is why I say it's like guys can watch my channel for a while, hear these stories that guys, what they go through, and be like, that'll never be me. And all of a sudden, some pretty girl with big tits starts paying attention to them, and all that shit goes in one ear and out the other. And the next thing you know, you're writing in about how dumb you were. But don't worry, our guy will redeem himself in the end. I know you guys are like, I'm out of here, SSM, F this. Even though I knew she was a terrible person, I kept thinking I could fix the situation. Smack! She's not the car. On the drive there, we made an awkward small talk. Near the end of the ride, she explained that a male friend of hers would also be there and be joining us. Cock blocking you. And she wanted to know if he could sit with us in the stands. I was extremely confused. I'm not, dude. She's not into you. I kept wondering how even he knew about this and if it was some sort of coincidence. Dude, really? No, she invited him. This is the guy who's probably banging her. As the drive ended, she told me more about him. It turns out it was one of her many exes. She said, though, that things were purely platonic and there was nothing to worry about. Yeah, given how kind and loving she's been treating you, I wouldn't quite buy this whole there's nothing to worry about crap. When I showed obvious frustration, she hit with me the classic lines of male insecurity. Of course. I would have just dropped her off. I would drop her off in a public place where she can get a bus or a taxi or an Uber and say, see ya. I mean, you should have been doing that a year ago. But some guys just have to suffer and suffer and suffer till they wake up to reality. At that point, my mood was slowly going downhill. I tried to still maintain a positive attitude. You mean a naive attitude? When we walked in there, the friend was already there. He seemed strangely smug. Well, of course he was, because he's probably banging her. There was some time before the game started, so we all sat down to talk. He kept talking to Brandy, and it seemed like he was trying to push me out of their conversations. Eventually, I was just nodding and glancing between them as they rambled on about memories. Dude, were you holding her purse too? Or did you go off to buy her tampons at Walgreens while they were talking? For God's sakes, man. My temper was starting to rise. The game was starting soon. I wasn't that interested in the game part, though. After all, this wasn't meant for me and Brandy, not this guy. We were all talking and walking to the seats. Then the guy dropped something that made me angry. He explained that he bought the seat next to Brandy. That meant she would be in the middle of us. I started to lose my cool. Brandy started ostracizing me about my behavior towards her guy friend. I tried to explain calmly that I thought the situation was strange, and this was meant as a date and not some strange third-wheel adventure. Now she's, aside from showing you the obviously disrespect, now she's bitching at you in public. And again, you're putting up with this. Is your behavior in all this sound like a guy that a woman would find attractive? No, they would see you as pathetic. Every woman watching this, all 4% of you, were probably like, oh my God. They wouldn't fuck you if you were the last guy on this planet given how you behaved. Shit, probably some gay dudes watching this would be like, nope. There's got to be one or two of them out there. Brother, what the hell? Have self-respect. She snapped at me and started putting me down in front of her friend. At that point, I had enough. About fucking time. The game was starting, but I no longer cared. I got up and told my girl that I was buying a soda. Before I could walk off, though, her friend rudely said he wanted one too. I just nodded and walked off. He's already banging her. He's like, shit, get me a soda too, bitch. At the concession stand, I asked for a small Coke, but then I also asked for them to give me a large Coke, but to pour cheese from the nachos into it. What I ended up getting was a cheesy, thick mixture. I decided to enact my somewhat petty plan. I walked back to them and said to Brandy that we were done and she should enjoy her basketball game with her little simp. Little simp? Brother, I can't let that go. Who has been the simp in this entire story? You think it's the guy who wanted you to go buy him a soda? Really? No, you were the one behaving like it, bro. I can't let that go. I want to be a friend to you and not point this shit out. I then said to her friend, here's the drink you asked for, and I threw the drink towards him and he spilled it all over himself. And Brandy was trying to catch it. Her friend seemed pretty pissed off and started walking towards me. So he got a big thing of Coke and cheese, nacho cheese all over him. That's pretty juvenile, but it's funny. He's an asshole. He deserved it. Well, before he could try anything, he tripped down the stairs. I found this quite funny and laughed at it as I left the stadium. Good you left. Thank God. See, guys, people have to suffer so much. We're coming to the end here, and, our guy's going to be okay. Although I wanted at first to directly pour the drink at Brandy and her friend, I didn't want to get detained, and simply tossing it would give me an equally funny outcome. Yeah, if you dumped it on him and her, you would be detained, that is right, and you spent, no doubt, a night in jail, and I can't imagine, no. The real-time realization that hit her face as I broke up with her was surreal. It was like she finally realized whatever game she was playing had failed and backfired. She was now stuck there with her simp friend. No, the simp in this story was not her friend, it was you. But now you're dumping her, so this is good. You're now redeeming yourself, ever so slightly. A few hours later, I was back home and working on the project car in my garage. I then started getting calls from Brandy. Big surprise. I, for some reason, picked up the phone, and she said she needed a ride home as her friend disappeared after making a fool of himself at the game. She also said that I owed her for the ride after what I'd done. Nope. You can walk home, honey. I simply hung up the phone, blocked her, and returned to what I was doing. Good. Bravo. Now you're acting like a fucking man. In fact, that probably made her a little bit attracted to you. Just a little bit. Got a little respect for you. I also, after that, packed up all her expensive, tacky clothes that I had paid for, put them in trash bags, and threw them in the front of our front lawn. It felt quite satisfying. Awesome. Put it in the trash because she's trash. Now, here's the thing. You said you had an apartment or a residence, and she was living there. If that's her residence, that may have been tricky getting her out of there, but the point is, you're moving in the right direction. When she came by to get them later on, she was livid, but didn't pound on the door or anything like that. She looked defeated, tired, and regretful. She wasn't regretful, she's just shocked and probably has cheese and soda all over her. From then on, I started to do much better. I also started treating my body with respect by working out and learning that I was in a toxic relationship and a problematic one. During parts of it, it felt as if I knew she was cheating, but I forced a mask onto myself while we were moving in together. Nowadays, I'm doing much better. I have more car parts in my garage, and I've decided that it's probably a good idea to marry before moving in, if I ever marry at all. The end. Good Lord, bro. Thank God. When I was reading this earlier, I'm thinking, my God, if this doesn't end on somewhat of a high note, I'll be pissed off for wasting 15 minutes of my freaking time. Thank God you redeemed yourself by breaking up with her and leaving her ass there and all that and putting her stuff in the garbage. Bro, as if you haven't figured it out, you made a lot of freaking mistakes. Now I'm going to go over them now so you completely understand where you're going wrong, and any other guy watching this can understand this too, so they don't do it. Where to begin? The beginning. You met her at a freaking outdoor festival for Halloween. You're all drinking. You got along. You hooked up with her. That's the only thing you did right in the whole story, as well as the end when you got rid of her. Okay, cool. You got laid. It should have ended there. That is not girlfriend material. Why? Because if she just met you at a freaking party or gathering or something, and she's drinking, hint, hint, drinking, and hooked up with you, guess what? That wasn't her first rodeo or her last. That's not girlfriend material. You know, if you met her somewhere, if you met her at that party, you got along well, and then you had to go and you got her number and called her a few days later and planned a date, and after a couple dates and you slept with her, that'd be different. Not that. So, boom, that's not girlfriend material. That shit I told you. Then immediately, you're dating and seeing each other. You're bringing her gifts all the time. You never do that. Ever. Not until she's officially your girlfriend after a few months of the screening process. And even then, it's rare. Scarcity creates value. Okay? When she's your girlfriend and it's an occasion like her birthday or something like that or Christmas, then you can do that if she, in fact, is reciprocating and treating you well. But in other words, you're just showing up, giving her gifts and stuff like that. She's immediately saying, cha-ching, I can use this guy. And sitting there listening to her babble on for hour-long conversations. If you're a man of any value, you got shit to do instead of listening, you're on the phone all the time. Instead, use the phone to you can, plan your next date or something like that. Guys spend so much time on the phone listening and talking and all that bullshit. Unless she was having a major crisis and then need to talk to you, somebody sick in the hospital or dying or is dead. Other than that, come on, see her in person. And then her talking on the phone about all her guy friends. Are you nuts? She shouldn't have any guy friends if she's your girlfriend. And Babylon, but that is testing you and disrespecting you. All this stuff you should never have gone along with. What else did you do? Oh, yeah. You're messaging her, and she takes days to respond. That's not acceptable behavior. That's treating you like it's just nothing, But I guess your pride... The problem is a lot of guys they'll focus on how the girl treated them initially when they started dating or whatever, and they focus on that like that's how things are now. It doesn't make a difference how things were 2 months ago. It's how things are now. So she's taking her time to respond to you and treating you like table scraps, like nothing. That ought to tell you everything you need to know. But again, your pride wouldn't allow it, and you were naive and gullible. And then on and on about buying her things and using you, trying to give up the car. I'm glad you didn't do that because you like working on cars. Then trying to get you to move out of your apartment with your brother and getting a place of your own, buying a place. Guess what? So she can move in and get free rent. You can't tell me she wasn't getting free rent and free shit paid for, the electric bill, the cable. No, terrible idea. One, it was too quick, and two, the way she was treating you, you're just teaching her she can keep treating you like dog crap, and keep coming back for more. And then on and on and on. Now finally, eventually, with her literally rubbing the guy in your face, and I guarantee you she's hooking up with him, you finally acted accordingly. Good. All that shit before, don't ever fucking do it again. Down the road, and it will happen, you'll meet another girl. And when you do, if you hook up with her at a party or on a first date, that ain't girlfriend material. I don't care how cool she seemed at the time. I don't know how great her body is and how generous she is in the bedroom. Not girlfriend material. Okay? Don't bombard them with gifts and stuff like that, buying their affection. That's stupid. Only weak-ass guys do that. And all those other things. You take your time to get to know them. You keep yourself busy. You basically do everything the opposite of what you did here, and you're going to be okay. So, bro, I appreciate you writing in. I know it wasn't easy. I know you knew you were going to get some shit. I can only begin to imagine what the guys are going to say in the comment section about you. But you know what? If that can be used to help you learn to never do that crap again, then it's worth it. Make a silver lining of a bad situation. And again, I appreciate you writing in, but holy crap, brother. So if this was recent, you need to watch lots of videos and let the stuff sink in. Because again, guys, so many guys are like, oh, I would never do that. Until some beautiful, smoking hot-ass woman comes your way with big tits and a tight ass, and she's interested, and next thing you know, you're with a single mom with 5 kids from 5 different daddies, even though you act like I would never do that. So be careful. But listen to these things, learn from them. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. I'm sure you like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.